Oh, hey there. Oh yeah, look at those mountains. Amazing. Alrighty, so this is my 10-foot box truck. I was living in here for almost the last year, about 9 months in total. I hope it's not too loud over here. So I just want to do a little tour of this truck before I finally get rid of it. Looks like some people are interested in buying it, and I do need to move it along, unfortunately. I'm really sad to get rid of it, obviously. It's very sentimental to me at this point. It's allowed me to do a lot of cool things in the last year. It was a whole new adventure. The car is driving itself. Just chilling. Oh no, it's gonna go off the road. Oh, Subaru. 2 Subarus. Yeah, here she is. This box truck's a little special because it has the freezer style rear doors instead of the roll-up door. It also has a nice little ladder, retrieving ladder. So it's a ladder to get your ladders from the ladder racks up top. I always wanted to put some sort of patio thing up there, but life took a different route. So a really special hack with this box truck. This one was built before they were really made without wheel wells. I'll show you what I mean. If you look here, this is my floor. It's supported decently. Hopefully you can see what I'm pointing at here. So yeah, here's the fender area, and here's the floor. There's about 4 inches of space maybe, or something like that, between the tire and the floor. But as I've noticed, that does not seem to matter. It definitely doesn't need all that travel. Maybe if it was at its full payload, going over some crazy bumps. This thing has a payload of about 3,500 plus pounds, 3,700 maybe, and I never had that much in it. So let's take a little peek in here. One more thing, it also has the awesome wind deflector up there. It makes a big difference for highway gas mileage, as well as the overall look of the vehicle. The ones without the wind deflector don't look very good. They just look square and unnatural. But the aerodynamic shape with the wind deflector is great, and if done properly, you get storage underneath the wind deflector as well, so that's good. Yeah, I got the old 350 just chugging along under there, way under there. The engine is pretty much under the dashboard area in these vans. They're really cool. Let's take a peek inside here. All right, so few people have been inside this van and lived to talk about it, but here it is. I meant to have a lot more friends over while I did live in here, but it was always stressful with my weird jobs and stuff, and it was always tough to meet up with people, especially in California. But here I am in Sandy, Utah. Happy to be back in Utah for now. And let's duck into my little rat hole here. Oh, hey there. You know, my worst fear was always that someone would be in here waiting for me when I came back at night, but mostly because I'd have to socialize with them, but never happened. No one ever broke in. Never thought it was that nice. Here's my little spot. Here's where I crawl through. Not the most glamorous crawl through, but yeah, I think the guy who drove it to Florida, I think he tried to seal it off with some plastic or whatever, so he put duct tape on there, and I was always going to cut it out larger to just cleanly get rid of that and make it bigger, because it could certainly be a lot taller. It could go up to here without any compromises. So like I was saying earlier, this wonderful box truck, it is hot in here, it has this awesome wind deflector, and the people who had it, I'm not sure if they did it at that time from the factory, they do nowadays, but someone did a rough job cutting out this little pass through here, and it allows for tons of storage on top of the cab. You can see the unfaded beautiful paint in there from the roof of the truck, and tons of storage up here. Of course, it was really nasty and disgusting when I got the truck, and I spent a lot of time with a ladder up here, reaching in, cleaning in here, trying not to sweat too much, and that took a while. Yep. So right now it's flaming hot. I'm just gonna let the sun go down a little bit and try to cool myself off in here a little bit, and take some more videos shortly. So one thing about this box truck, it was in pretty hilarious shape when I got it as far as the box, and the original floor was totally rotted and had other wood on top of that, which was then rotted. So a very helpful guy in upstate New York helped me design and throw this new floor in here. Basically, it's a support system of 2x4s on the original floor, and then this Advantech subflooring. It's this stuff right here, which I use as my little doors. It worked out just perfectly that the portion cut off from these two big pieces was just perfect for my two little doors, which were just wonderful, and were a good little upper body workout. I'm actually weaker now than I used to be because I don't lift these anymore, at least in my lifting muscles. So these little washers are here for a reason. I used to have these stuck with magnets through basically there was Reflectix, this silver stuff. It was all on the roof with magnets in it that I put there, and the magnets I would stick with the washers there, and it could handle pretty good winds. Not so much for driving, but I only drove at really low speeds for the most part when I lived in this frickin' thing. And overall, it was a great system. The Reflectix kept the sun out really well, kept it really cool actually, and kept it dark, and I could sleep until noon or 1 p.m. or I mean, that's not good behavior, but I was able to really sleep in here because it wouldn't get that hot. Mostly that was also because I have weird ventilation through my back door. The whole rear door and floor area, it's not what it used to be, but it still works, and the gaps actually allow for a lot of good air to come in here. Right now it's probably letting in some exhaust, but I do have a carbon monoxide detector over here. Hopefully that's okay. But I would have a fan back here blowing on me there. The sleeping setup was this. Push this forward and pull down. Pull down the old mattress there. And when you're actually laying here, you have so much space and so much headroom. It's way better than having a widthwise bed like I used to have. I used to have the bed going right here, and that was fine. It was a different bed, it was a larger bed, it was too wide. It just wasn't that great. It took up too much space. Having a flippable bed is really everything. You just need to get it out of the way. And with these modern springless mattresses, you get a nice firm little mattress for a couple $100, and it hardly weighs anything. You flip it up against the wall here. You don't even need a complicated hinge mechanism or any elaborate bed frame or any of that stuff. Back to my relaxing setup here. So relaxed, sweating, 120 degrees in here. I'm going to go in the front. Woo. So when you live in a van or a box truck or any sort of vehicle, mostly what you do is struggle to stay warm. I mean, struggle to stay warm or cold, depending on the time of day, and you're never quite comfortable unless you get it just right. But it's a lot of fun still. What I wanted to accomplish partly with this box truck was show that a very minimalist style box truck was at least the best for my lifestyle, and in my opinion, it's advisable for almost everyone to have a very minimally built box truck or van. In general, I think a van is not as preferable to a box truck, but I'm going to make a video on that later. Vans do have a lot of advantages, sort of advantages. All I really have in here is the little desk, the $1,600 pre-owned office chair. I got it for $60. And then my little shelf that was given to me by a roommate in Plattsburgh, New York. And then the flippable mattress, and then just a ton of space.
But yeah, I would imagine you'd have to get one that was this size.
Yep.
And squeeze the fuck out of it on this one to make it work.
Okay, yep.
Because you're going to have a hard time getting the smaller one to fit over a bigger one.
Yeah, definitely.
Much easier to get the bigger one to fit over the smaller one. And pretty much that's all there is to it.
Ta-da! Secret box truck. A certain neighborhood of San Diego really hated this truck and this guy. But here it is. Look at that. Look at that. Got the map. Got the sweet stuff on the wall. Got the $1,600+ office chair. Awesome. Got the Craigslist ladder, got the Reflectix. Pretty much everything you need for a good life. Dirty man. So this thing has been rusted by the Northeast, but not as bad as most vehicles. It is a 2001. I think it wasn't on the road that much during the winter, because as rusty as it really isn't too bad. I'll show you for reference. So, it got salt flung up onto the muffler, so that's looking rough. But overall, it's rusty but not rotten like a New York vehicle. It's from the Boston area. I bought it from a guy in Connecticut, and it was in perfect mechanical shape when I bought it, so that's really what it had going for it. The box was hilariously messed up. The floor was so bad. It's a miracle that someone helped me out getting this nice floor in here, and it was wonderful for the year. Well, actually about 9 months I had the nice floor, and maybe 6.5 months I lived with the nice floor. There was a little while I lived with the really crappy floor, and it was really depressing. There were actually like holes in it, and wildlife would come and go, and the elements would come in, and it was really ridiculous. Ow, I hurt my elbow. But here I am in Sandy, Utah, not San Diego. It's really hot at the moment, like upper 90s, but it is that dry heat, which everyone loves, and it truly is a world of difference. This is better than like 80 degrees and humid in upstate New York, I swear. This isn't too bad, even though it's hot. The mountains are gorgeous here, really green right now. It was a rainy summer, I guess, and it's really beautiful. Little Cottonwood Canyon is right up there. That's like my favorite outdoor area pretty much ever. It's the most beautiful place. There's Big Cottonwood Canyon over there. And Salt Lake City is over there in a haze of smog. We won't worry about that. So I'm going to try to cool it down a little bit in here, get some airflow going like I used to when I lived in here 2.5 weeks ago, and see if I can tell you a little more about my setup. Walgreens. Yeah. Sorry. Chillin'.
Yeah, that's the most secure way to tie. Alright, guys, here is our blueprint engine. 632 tall deck big block. Holy crap. That's a lot of motors. Dude, that's a lot of engine. Holy, look at the intake ports.
Oh yeah.
They're massive.
Chilling with my little display 2x4 here.
What we have in Leroy.
Oh yeah.
Alright,
lantern hanging.
Guys, this thing by itself, naturally aspirated, made over 800 horsepower on the engine dyno.
Alright, so it's way too hot to actually make a good video in here today. But here's the box truck. Here's where I lived for almost a year. It had a really terrible floor. Now it has a nicer floor. This box truck is unique because it has one remaining wheel well under there, the little metal shelf thing underneath, and there's none on this side. It's just flat, wonderful floor. The box truck doesn't need that much wheel travel, and someone smart just got rid of it when it rotted out years ago. So because of that, I was able to set my drum set up in here easily and also sleep lengthwise on the floor here with my nice little flip down mattress. And overall, I think this is the best simple box truck setup you can have, and I think every van or box truck setup should be simple, because if you get in a bad accident, you'll have to take everything apart and redo it again anyway, so you really shouldn't make a complicated setup, in my opinion. Oh no. Okay, so I really underestimated how hot it is here today in Sandy, Utah, in this flaming hot parking lot that I chose to film this. But I really just want to do a quick little walkthrough, a little tour of this box truck in case it gets sold in the next couple days. I finally have a job and I'll be working, and it's too hot to do anything in the daytime in this box truck, and I really just want to film a little tour for memory's sake and documentation purposes, and to show that a simple box truck is the way to go, not a complicated, overbuilt, ridiculous little house on wheels with too much stuff in it. I've got my little stability strap over there. This box truck is put together solidly, but why not have the extra security of the strap holding it together when I'm driving, especially when I'm driving across country and stuff over crazy bumps at high speeds. Yeah, it's just a little 10-foot box truck. It's just under 10 feet from the cab to the back there. Got my ladder for rooftop activities, although it actually has a little ladder built onto the back, as you saw. The shelf up here is one of the best parts about living in the box truck. You set all your nice little trinkets up here, whatever you need throughout the day, you have it right here. And then you have your more obscure storage items up here. This is just tools and stuff and random little tool style items, things for working on the truck, extra sheet. This storage space up here is amazing. I wouldn't buy a box truck without it. It's kind of a waste to do so, but unfortunately a lot of them came that way, so what are you going to do? Got my nice calendar over here, my New York and California, Vermont, Utah memorabilia, little shelf from an ex-roommate. Used spare pieces of the Advantech flooring for my little doors here, and they actually work really well because they can cover up the space, but they can also let in air, because of course they don't completely cover it. So it almost appears as if it's sealed off, but of course air can be coming in. So when I lived in here, I almost always had the windows cracked pretty much all the time, the front windows, so a tiny bit of a crosswind was there, and I frequently had my nice little blue fan here wedged in the armrest, and that thing works miracles. Another controversial thing about this truck, I don't have any ventilation on the ceiling. I just have poorly repaired holes with tape, but hey, the tape has held up. This thing has leaked a little bit. I used a lot of caulk to stop most of the leakage, and I have this really nice aluminum tape that I want to use to stop the rest of the leakage. If it ever cools down, I'll put it up there on the corners to really, I think it certainly should stop the leaks 100%, at least for a couple years. And I would have done it, but it's been so hot, and I haven't even seen rain in so many months, since maybe April or something. I haven't seen rain in forever. It's crazy. So that's been good for the box truck though, as far as leaks. Got my nice painting from my buddy Tom Cronin over there, and some other random stuff. I've got a random 2x4 that I never was able to get rid of or cut in half or do anything with. I've got these chunks of 2x4 holding the floor to the wall, because when the floor goes to shit in a box truck, it no longer holds the walls onto it really, so you have to secure it somehow. I hope I'm not getting too much carbon monoxide poisoning right now, but got my hanging lantern, very crucial. every night when I popped my head through the little door here, I'd reach for the lantern, turn it on, and hope that no one was in here waiting for me. So that's about it for the living area. Very simple. I'm not even going to get into why I don't mess around with cooking and stuff. Cooking is a life goal of mine, just not right now. I have been eating healthier than ever, but without preparing any foods. And I also had access to lots of really good, prepared, healthy, affordable food in California. Lots of good fruit and Mexican food was to be had cheaply. Here's my nice little sitting thing. Hang out over here in the corner if I want to. You can potentially hang out with a lot of people in here comfortably. I only ever really chilled with one person at a time, or two people on one occasion, and there's so much space, it's amazing. It's like your own little cabin on wheels, and it's so fun to have friends over and relax. I've got a really nice little vintage folding chair back here. I only used it once, but it was really nice when I did. And yeah, then there's the front. It actually is a vehicle. It's idling right now, and hopefully not overheating. It was getting a little hot. It's doing fine. It's doing fine right in the middle. I don't usually let it get that hot, but it's a special occasion. I'm really sad to potentially sell this truck, but if I can get a few $1,000s for it, that's just how it goes. I just want someone to take good care of it and hopefully fix the leaking, rusty cab roof. That's one of the main problems with it. But other than that, it's a really great little truck, and I'm gonna miss it when I get rid of it. And a 10-foot box truck is just the ultimate little multi-purpose vehicle. It fits in a parking spot, can be parked anywhere. It's about 9.5 feet tall with the ladder racks, or give or take, and pretty good on gas. Pulling my car with a tailwind going east across the country, I got about 12 miles per gallon, or 11.9, from San Diego to Utah here, and I was pretty impressed with that mileage. So overall, it's an amazing vehicle. The gauges play some funny games. I don't totally trust what it's telling me about the oil pressure, but I'm sure it's fine. It is getting a little warm though, so I'm gonna wrap this video up pretty soon. I just really am gonna miss this thing if I sell it soon, which I need to sell it soon, and it'll be sad to see it go. But I had such good times in here. Playing my drum set while looking at the Pacific Ocean was one of the highlights, and the possibilities are limitless with a box truck. When you're trying to do specific activities, you can use this thing to do anything. I could put a couple dirt bikes in here and still sleep in here super comfortably, or a freaking snowmobile or whatever. Any sort of equipment, any sort of business you want to run. You could have a mobile barber shop or a mobile dental place, and yeah, have any sort of mobile clinic in here as well. Pretty much anything, or ice cream. So yeah, this was the box truck. I'm gonna shut her off. Got a couple cobwebs over here. It's been an amazing vehicle. I never really used to chill with the rear door open ever, except at the beach. But at this point, it's no longer my identity. I don't live in there anymore for now. I would, but it's too hot in Utah, and the housing is affordable here as well. And as you can see, Utah is absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna take some videos up in the mountains very soon, and do some drives up Little Cottonwood Canyon and Big Cottonwood Canyon. Show you my favorite hiking spot over there at Bell's Canyon, and some other attractions soon. But this has been the 2001 Chevy Express G3500 10-foot box truck with the Spartan Supreme box and the 5.7 Chevy motor. Gotta love it. Got the thickest lock I could get in there. trunk. There we go. One final note. I did use iron remover to take a lot of the rust off the back of this thing. Almost everyone has some sort of fiberglass thing in their life, whether it's like a truck topper or a high top on a van or something. They always rust like this, and it drips down onto the fiberglass, and no one knows how to get it off. And I had like 90% success. I used just a normal household iron remover, iron and rust remover, made for multiple things, and they always caution you this might ruin your paint, or try it in a small area. Basically like a really cheap version of Iron X. That's an amazing product, but that's a video for another day. So yeah, I took the rust off there and right under here by using the iron remover, and that made a big difference as far as looking less crappy, being a rusty Northeast vehicle. And overall it's a great looking truck, and I love the look of it and the shape of it and the good aerodynamics. And this one is lucky to have the good looking Chevy front from the early 2000s, late 90s, I guess. It doesn't have the two square headlights, which are ugly. It has the two rectangular lights, which look really good. It's a great truck. Hopefully someone cool comes and buys it from me in a day or two here. We'll see. Alright, so this might be one of the last times I ever get to drive this old box truck around, and it sure has been a pleasure driving it, and I'll certainly miss it if it gets sold sometime soon. I look forward to a future with many more box trucks, totally rust-free, I guess, but this one's done me so well, and it hasn't let me down in any big ways, only predictable ways due to corrosion and stuff. So. Yeah, this thing runs so well. Sorry, I'm going to be running the AC. It's just too damn hot out here. Well, actually, once I get moving, we'll see. We'll see. It's making a little exhaust-related noise, I think. Some part of the exhaust is vibrating. That didn't used to, but no biggie. It's just so hot. The metal's probably extra expanded, and it's clanking around. Something like that. Ridiculously hot out here. So yeah, stuff really slaps around in here. No matter how well you set up your stuff, it all clanks around and flies around when you drive. That's just how it goes in a box truck. So, see, that was just like a 2-inch bump, and I hit it perfectly evenly with my wheels, and it still was pretty loud, pretty hardcore. That's the thing about this box truck. It's a 1-ton. It's a G3500. It's got stiff springs. It's a stiff old girl, and it doesn't exactly soak up the bumps, especially when it has no weight in the back. It has a couple 100 pounds of weight in the back from my mattress or whatever. So it does have a wonderful turning radius. It can really turn on a dime. It can actually turn the wheel so far that it starts to wash out, like understeer, skid. It's unbelievable. I'm not going to go that far. I'm at full lock right now. Oh yeah. Oh wow. It turns on a dime. Incredible. The front end is nice and tight in this particular truck as well. The front end is nice. It used to make a little bit of shock noise, but I think it loosened back up. It really is. It's tight. Steering's tight. Steering wheel has a slight list to the right always, but it goes down the road like a champion. You can drive with your knee for a moment or two if you need to at high speeds, hauling a vehicle on the back, and it drives really straight down the highway. It's great. It's also a wonderfully tall ride height. It's just nice and tall, about as tall as a heavy-duty truck. You can actually see the truck drivers when you're road tripping with it. You can see up in there. You can see them giving you a look because you're driving badly. It's one of the easiest vehicles to drive as far as being. It seems kind of large when you initially walk up to it, but since the wheels are essentially right under my feet, it's just so maneuverable. It has a short wheelbase, maybe 115 inches, about the same as a pickup truck, a normal length pickup truck. It's easy to park. I would like to get a 12-foot version in the future with dual rear wheels. Here comes the bump. Oh. And the one that I get next, I'm going to take extra measures to, maybe I'll even put lighter springs in it or something. I want a box truck that rides better. I know they make half-ton versions or whatever, but they're very uncommon. And overall, I don't want the 4.3 liter V6 under here. I love the 350 V8, the 5.7 liter V8, 255 horse and about 325 foot-pounds of torque or something. It is such a beast and chugs along at low RPMs. I'm very glad I have this, not a Ford 5.4 getting all gunked up and stupid. That's the main reason I went with a Chevy. You get this wonderful 5.7 V8, which you can't really question, and then the 4L80E transmission, which is nice and stout. Some people might have criticisms, but overall it's a very good transmission. Even if it gets messed up, you can replace a thing or two and keep it going usually. This one's been great. It shifts smooth as butter. It's wonderful. I made sure to keep it out of overdrive when I was pulling anything besides downhill or on a perfect flat. But yeah, with 255 horse, this thing can pull about 4,000 pounds worth of car and cargo really, really well. It can pull third gear up most hills. It takes a pretty steep hill and some altitude to knock this thing down to second gear, at which time it starts screaming at 55 or so miles per hour up the hill, and you feel bad for it. But it's really not going to hurt itself too much. It only probably revs to 5,000 RPM or something like that at the most, and it's just such a solid engine. My future box truck will likely have the 6-liter successor to this engine, and that'll be fine. It'll have more power and more torque, and it'll be a little more complicated, but who cares? It's a little hard to put into gear. I used to have a shoulder injury, so I have a nice little technique where I push my elbow up to put it into park, and there we go. Parking brake even works, even though it's a rusty old truck. The day that I got these, I became a legitimate box truck guy. I was actually being so stealthy that I wasn't covering up my windshield initially, and people were thinking, well, if someone lives in there, he's not stupid enough not to cover up his windshield, that would be way too hot. But nope, that's what I did. Worked out well. So here we are. This thing's getting low on gas. Let's take one final peek in the back here, shall we? If I can ever get the camera off here. So here we are, the back of the box truck. It's kind of getting dark, but the fiberglass roof still lets in a ton of light. I moved my 2x4 down on the floor because it clunks around a lot. But here it is. I spent a ton of time in here, and it was really fun and really satisfying. And I really felt like I was getting one over on society because I wasn't paying rent, and I was living in literally the nicest part of the country. Well, as far as ocean beautifulness and weather goes, La Jolla, California. And the weather was great. People were alright. And I had a lot of cool experiences. And it was pretty much all thanks to the box truck, because I've tried to live in California a bunch of times, and without a box truck, I just go crazy trying to pay rent, and I never wind up having any fun. And then my friend Jason, who lives in a van, he's always inviting me snorkeling and doing amazing things, but then I'm paying my rent and I can't do it. So this time I was actually able to hang out with Jason and do a lot of cool stuff. I still worked a full-time job pretty much the whole time, but I was able to actually save at least some money and spend some money on myself and not flush it all down the toilet for rent. And it was just a really fun adventure, and I look forward to living on the road again. Although for now, I'm really appreciating what a house has to offer. I was fortunate to find one of the most chill housing situations in all of the Salt Lake Valley, and I really love the folks I live with, and the house I live in has AC blasting almost all the time, and it's such a nice contrast from the flaming hot box truck I was trying to live in all this time. So here it is. I've got all this space. I can stretch my arms all the way out. It's about 6.5 feet wide and about just under 10 feet long. And turns out that's all you need. And this one, even though it has the slightly raised floor from the improvements that were done, I can't stand 100% straight up here. I have to do a ridiculous neck motion. But right here, there's an 18 or so inch area where I can stand straight up and fully relax here, take care of some business, work on my country's currency. It has holes in it. And work on things besides paying rent. So here we go. Bye-bye.